Hi, welcome. Karas to you. This is 11 a.m. on Monday, the 8th of June, 2026. Are you ready to take notes? Are you on fire for God? Or are you just trudging through daily life and God is in your mind on occasion and you don't really have a driving passion for God? That's where we should be. We should be so excited about God and having God in our lives that we are driven towards a godly outcome. Now, those godly outcomes can vary somewhat. Some people are called to fivefold ministry: pastors, apostles, prophets, teachers, and evangelists, and others are called to support ministries such as ushers or counselors or people that have a hospital ministry or a prison ministry where they go and visit people and tell them about God. Maybe a street ministry, or maybe a food pantry for people that can't afford food and you're handing out free or half price food. But all these things to benefit God, not charity for charity's sake, not handing out food just because we're called to help the hungry. But along with helping the hungry, in Matthew 5:16, I think it is, uh, Christ was talking about the shining your light for everyone to see, not hiding it under a bushel. And in such, we are to show God through what we do. Because Matthew 5:16 says something like, let your light shine so that people can see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. So that's where the good deeds and the charity comes in. But for what purpose? So they can glorify your Father in heaven. So if you are doing charitable acts for God, do they know that it is for God? Have you let them know that you're a Christian and you're doing it to glorify God so that they too can glorify your Father in heaven? Because if you're not letting them know that aspect, then you almost might as well not be doing it. Sure, we need to be loving, but loving and denying God by not expressing God within that love, you might as well not have God in your life. After all, can a Muslim be charitable? Can a Buddhist be charitable? A Hindu? Somebody that believes in the Shinto religion? Whatever it might be. They can be just as charitable. Everybody does good things, but who is doing it for God's sake? Are you? And if you are you letting people know that it's for God's sake? So we all have a calling of some kind, whether it be one of those fivefold callings: pastor, apostle, prophet, teacher, evangelist, or a support ministry. And there are many other support ministries. You can work in technical areas like the church's website, for example, or the sound desk um, while church meetings are on, or the like, or even outside church. You might help in other technical areas, or you might help in other caring roles or in other community roles. You might be a um, children's church teacher or something. Who knows? But are you doing whatever it is you're doing, heading in whatever direction you're heading, under your own strength of having to go and do this stuff day and day again? And I don't know, it's an effort to do things for God. Or on the other hand, do you have the fire of God in your heart so much that you can't wait for opportunities to express God through those charitable acts, through what you do, and through what you say? After all, if you've got rivers of living water in you, they are bursting out through your mouth. After all, from the heart, the mouth speaks. So if you're on fire, that comes out of you verbally. If you're not on fire, well, then you talk about what's been on TV lately or what's been in current news lately or what the government's doing or what the royal family's doing or oh my wake me up. Or you're really excited about God. Do you want to do teaching videos? Do you want to do evangelistic videos? Do you want to do videos at all? Do you want to go out and tell people about God in other circumstances? After all, every single Christian, no matter what their calling, has the prime calling of expressing God to everyone around them. Mark, 1:38 says, and this was Christ's words, let's go to the next town so I can preach there also, because that is why I came. We are his disciples. We do what he did. A disciple is somebody who follows in the way of their master, and that was his way. So, should we also seek to turn every conversation to God and godliness rather than talk about those soap operas and current affairs and news and whatever else? Absolutely. Can the news be useful? Yeah, it can, because it can create a conversation opener with somebody that you can then turn to a conversation about God, as long as you're turning those conversations to a conversation about God. Otherwise, it's of no real use. And it doesn't matter who the conversation is with, unless, of course, you're in a work circumstance where you cannot do that. Can a judge in a courtroom say, I convict this person to prison for a year, and now let me tell everyone else about Christ? No, a judge needs to stick to what their role is, and there are many roles like that where you must basically keep a role-orientated mindset. But what about a checkout operator? Can you scan the items and as you're scanning items, think on godly things? Absolutely. You can memorize scripture while you're doing it or the like. After all, there's no demand for you to communicate at that time or anything like that. You need to keep some little bit of a mindset on the job you're doing. But when you're driving down the road, people that are driving can often have conversations with a passenger. So your road, the concentration you have on the road is not 100%. You can also do other things. If there's no passenger, well, you can think on God and scriptural things where normally the average person might be thinking about work or thinking about family issues or whatever else while they're driving. You can think on godly things. If you're on fire for God, it's all you want to do. You want every moment to be godly in some way, to glorify God in some way, to present God to everyone around you, to learn more of God, to pray more and be even more on fire than where you are right now. You want to stoke that fire. You want to feed that fire. Where are you at? Am I describing you with a massive desire to stoke that fire and feed that fire? Or is it, oh, I'm going to have to go to church again on Sundays? It's like Christianity is a duty to me, and it's not that interesting, but I want to go to heaven, so because I want to go to heaven, I've got to do the Christian things. Well, if that's you, you've missed it entirely anyway. You don't realize that a relationship with God is highly attitude based. If you are on fire and want more, you're building a strong relationship with God. If it's a task to you, then you're building what you think might be a relationship, but you're building a personal prison. You are restricting yourself, your life, under your own effort, and therefore you are placing yourself above God because it's your efforts that are doing things, not God's. You're trusting in yourself, not God. You're doing things out of your effort, not God's. They might be similar things. Two people might go to church, but one is excited and wants to glorify God, and the other one, it's a task. Both go to church. The one who has the strong relationship with God that is on fire is a true Christian. The one who is doing it out of effort so that they can go to heaven is no more than religious. They don't have the relationship. They are producing a religious effort. They are trying to work their way to heaven, which is what religion does. Is that you? Are you trying to work your way to a higher existence, a higher realm, a higher spiritual plane, a higher place in eternity? Well, if so, A, it's just religion. B, religion fails. Lacking the relationship with God and just being religious is a highway in the wrong direction. It is the wide road that many travel that leads to trouble and hell. It's not the narrow road. The narrow road is that relationship with God that is a fire within you that all you want to do is just stoke that fire, feed that fire, and spread that fire to everyone around you. Is that you? Are you trying to turn every conversation to God because that's what's in you? Or are you merely doing the absolute minimum basics that you need to do to work your way to heaven? And notice when I talk about the relationship with God, I'm not mentioning heaven at all. After all, do we even go to heaven? When Christ was crucified on the cross, he had two criminals either side of him, one on each side. One, I believe, by memory, mocked him, and the other one said to the one that was mocking him, "No, don't do that. Uh, he is God on earth," or something along that line. He is, he does not deserve to be here. And he then turned to Christ and said, "When you come to your kingdom, remember me." And Christ said back to him, "This day you will be with me in paradise." I'm pretty sure is it was the this day. I'm not too sure on. I'm pretty sure he said, "This day you will be with me." But it was, "You will be with me in paradise." Heaven? No, he didn't say that. Why didn't he say that? Well, heaven's the throne of God. Heaven's not a waiting place for Judgment Day. Heaven's not where we go to after Judgment Day. After Judgment Day, God creates a new heaven, a new earth, and a new Jerusalem, and resides in the new Jerusalem on the new earth here with us. We return to the new earth after waiting for that Judgment Day in paradise, not hell, not heaven. So some people try to work their way to heaven. Use the work their way to heaven rather than paradise because they think it's heaven that they're going to, because they don't know the Bible. They don't know that they only know the stories of heaven and hell and how when you die you become an angel or the like, because that's what stories say and it's not true anyway. Angels are not people that have died. They are beings, they are beings that were created before humanity was created. And the world has created a version of Christianity that religious people tend to believe. They're going to heaven, they become an angel, or whatever. And they work their way to do it by going to church and doing good things. They work their way to heaven. It's like, again, religion is man trying to work his way to a higher spiritual realm or to a better post-life existence. Relationship with God is totally different. It's a direct connection to God. Religion, priests are mediators. They represent you to God and God to you. Relationship is a direct connection with God. So therefore, there are no mediators. There are no priests. Priests are impossible. Of course, there are still pastors, prophets, teachers, evangelists, and apostles, but they are different to priests. A pastor takes care of the flock. They're not your mediator, representing you to God and God to you, but they will teach the church. But more so, they will take care of people, counsel people, etc. Teachers will delve into the Bible and help people understand the Bible and God. Prophets have a authoritative voice and often speak when the church is taking wrong turns to get them back on track. A prophet can be prophetic as it can be prophetic as in telling the future as well, but a prophet, technically the word means inspired speaker. So somebody who is inspired by God to say this is what needs to happen, not necessarily this is what's going to happen in the future. Okay? Just to give you a better idea if you don't know. And an apostle will set up new structures, whether it be new kinds of church organizations or the like, whether it be uh, new functions, not always new, by the way, but they organize things on the mass, like a company CEO uh, organizing the entire company from the head. Apostles are like that. It's the best explanation I can give you off the top of my head straight away right now, anyway. So they are more the whole picture, the helicopter vision, looking at the entire picture from way above, rather than little aspects, as prophets will look at little aspects and pastors will look at little aspects. Evangelists, on the other hand, evangelists are part of the fivefold ministry. There are people that are called to bring many to God, and all they do is have meetings expressing God to lots of people and things like that, seeking people turn to God and get saved. However, even though that is a fivefold role, every single Christian has a duty to evangelism. As I mentioned earlier, in Mark 1:38, Christ said, let's go to the next town so I may preach there as well, because that is why I came. Well, if he came to preach the gospel and we are disciples, we do what our master did, then we are to preach the gospel. All of us, like evangelists. So every single Christian is an evangelist to some degree. So how do you tell the Christians? Well, they're the ones that are excited about God, trying to express God to everyone around them all the time, constantly. How do you tell a religious person in comparison? Well, they're the person that doesn't really want to do that, but they go to church because that's their duty. And maybe they might do some nice sort of things for people because they're supposed to be charitable, and there's such an effort to do that because it's religion. They're just doing religious things. One's on the narrow path, the excited person who wants to tell everyone about God and not tell everyone about the heaven hell story, not tell everyone that you've got to turn to God or you'll get punished. No, they just want to share the love of God, how God can change your life and make it a wonderful new life, full of fruits of the Spirit, which are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. But as well as that, God gives you purpose in life. God gives you direction. God gives you wisdom. God gives you so many other things. A passion for him, for his work, and for people to learn this and understand and also gain a commitment to God, a true commitment, not just religion. So, where are you at? Which one is you? Have you been religious? It's time to find God, because chances are you've never really known God. Everything's always been you, your mind, your action, your desire to reach heaven, you doing things out of your strength to achieve that. That's not the story. That's not grace. That's not charis. That is you being God of your life. It's time to give that up to God. Ask that He come into your life truly and replace the you in your life. And you commit to serve Him as Lord and Saviour, but a joyful service in the wonder of all those wondrous things that you gain. You know, you're doing it to gain wondrous things. There might be some gain to be had, but once you get the relationship, it's like, wow, this is so amazing. I want to increase God in this relationship and connect other people to this relationship as well. I want other people to have what I have, to really understand God, to really communicate with God. Do I hear God audibly and God says these particular words? No, it's not that kind of communication, that kind of relationship. I am impressed by God. Now, I'm not saying impressed as in wow, but I'm saying the message is impressed within me. I get an impression of what God wants in a circumstance. I get an impression of what God is saying. I don't get actual words. It's incredibly rare for anyone to hear actual words. They may, but it's so rare it's not funny. Uh, some of the time you can tell the difference as well by the way people say things. And if somebody treats the way God talks to them as actual words, it's actually quite probable that that's not the case. However, it may be. It may be, so don't hold that against anyone. But do take it as a red flag. Do take it as a, well, okay, it might be true, but hang on, let me look at your entire life here. If you say God said these exact words, you can hear the audible voice of God. What's your life like? Oh, I'm religious. I do things out of whatever. Then I think there might be an issue. But if you're also the kind of person that's just bursting with the fire of God, just bursting to express God to people out of a loving heart, then maybe you are actually hearing from God. The other person could possibly just be schizophrenic, and it's another personality of their own talking to them. But they'll call that God because they don't even understand their own condition, their own mental condition. I think lots of people in life have listened to schizophrenics who thought they were hearing from God and gone off and done crazy things. There are certainly a lot of people that have done very unbiblical, very ungodly things and claim they heard from God and dragged a lot of people with them into devastation. Anyway, where are you at? Are you really on fire for God? If not, it's time to look to God. Contact us. Let us know where you're at. We can help you go further, wherever you're at. Okay, I'll wrap up there. Contact details are always below. Contact us. Bless you. Govern well. Karis to you.